Hi, folks. This here be Ichabod again. Icky, as my friends call me, and some of the ladies, they call me the bod. On the edge with Ichabod. Well, today I ain't gonna talk about women, and I ain't gonna talk about my friends. I'm gonna talk about deer. Deer, you know them four-legged things, them herbivores that come out of the woods and come into your garden, eat all your flowers, and eat the shrubs that you planted at great expense, so forth. And a lot of people don't like all the deer coming into their yard and eating up everything. They think they ought to kill the deer or poison them or sterilize them or some other thing like that. Control the deer population. Where'd all these deer come from? Gee, man. Well, they're not always thinking about where the deer came from, because the deer came from, well, they came from the woods. But 100 years ago, you could hardly find a deer because there wasn't any woods. They cut down most all the woods. You see, a couple hundred years or more ago, the European-derived folks, they arrived on the scene and they had chased all the Indians off, and they looked at the forest. They said, "Oh, God, that makes a terrible farm. Let's make it look like Europe." So that's exactly what they did. They cut down all the trees, they burned them all up, and they farmed it, and they didn't take care of the soil, and they cut down the trees so the trees and the roots didn't hold all the water from the rain, which washed away more soil, and eventually the farms, a lot of them went out of business. Meanwhile, the deer didn't have nothing to eat, and people had hunted them until you couldn't find one. So the hunters said, "All right, we got to let the deer recover," and they didn't shoot does for a long time. And the deer recovered, and so did the land. The forest started to come back, and there's all these twigs and young trees and buds and so forth. The deer had a field there. They just eating. They had plenty of food and what have you. And then all of a sudden we got too many deer. There's already deer all over the place. And then in the deep woods there ain't no trees coming up, and there ain't no wildflowers because deer are eating them all. And it's awful. And the woods don't have a future anymore because the deer ate it, and the deer eating it, And the deer come into the yard and they eat your shrubs and your flowers and all that sort of thing. And then you drive down the street, bam, you hit one. And, so people are going to get real mad at all these deer where they come from, but they don't really think about that other big mammal that has invaded the landscape and caused so much, in fact, much more trouble than the deer. You know what I'm talking about. Talk about them two-legged upright hominids that they're just so dang clever, but they ain't very smart, and they just messed up everything. And I think you got to go inside and look in the mirror and look at yourself and say, I think I'm the problem.